Bam, we're live. Good morning. It's a shame I've never had Lucy on before. So much to talk about. So little time. Good to see you guys. No surprise, Ramblers first. Good morning, Mr. McCask. Second fittest woman walking the planet. She's in New Jersey this morning. Not sure why. The United Kingdom is her home. We were fortunate enough to make this podcast happen. It sounds like later on today she's going to be on with Pedro. So anytime I don't have a good follow-up question, write it down, send it to Pedro, or watch his podcast and ask him to ask the follow-up questions. I'm sure there's going to be a ton I'm going to miss. There's a ton to get through this morning. What a journey she's been on, and not in the game very long. Just a real talent. Great background. A little bit similar to Tia's, but with a sprinkle of gymnastics. If my research is right, she had real serious aspirations when it came to track and field, running, and swimming. I want to say maybe she was on the national team in the United Kingdom in both. You need to trim off the top. Trim off the top. Looking, who, me? Up here? Here? Oh, I would love to have Ben Askren on. I don't know when that's going to happen. Devon, thanks for all you do. You make my mornings better. Well, good. That's the point. That's the point, to make people's mornings better. Every morning at 7 a.m., come on here and watch me tear the world apart with comedy. Lucy, hi.
Hello.
Dude, that shirt is so apropos. Find a way.
That's cool, isn't it?
Oh, it's
People can buy
sick.
it.
Oh, and it's a Lucy Campbell shirt. That's sick.
Yeah.
I didn't even notice that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. How you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you. I'm a little bit nervous, but
Oh, good. Me too. That's healthy. Hey, are you in a kindergarten classroom or a chiropractor's office?
I'm in an affiliate office.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I think
Looks
it's you see that?
Yeah.
Fit, nutrition, accountability.
Okay. On the left looks like the chiropractor's office, like successful clients that like they saved, and then the right looks like pictures in a kindergarten office, like eat your apple, it's good for you.
Yeah, that's about right.
I like that. Hey, maybe that's what an affiliate's like. It's half kindergarten and half chiropractor.
I'm not sure what their business model is.
Hey, which affiliate are you in, and how come?
I'm at CrossFit Roseland in New Jersey. I'm not, like, this is just where I'm training at the moment whilst I'm in the US. So I'm staying with my godmother.
Oh, that's cool. Is she American, or is she English woman who moved to the US?
No, she's American.
Oh, okay. How did you end up with an American godmother?
My mom used to work with her, so they were both at Mars and were like international based, so they were working together a lot.
Like Mars, like the food company?
Yeah.
Oh, did you eat a lot of candy bars as a kid?
No, the opposite. We weren't allowed.
It is the candy company, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, my mom used to work in manufacturing, so she was like, she'd always tell us how like Maltesers were. Do you guys have Maltesers here?
I know the dog.
No. I think that's a Maltese. No, like I guess in the UK it's like a little ball of like malt, and then it's covered in chocolate. And she used to tell us about the machines that would go around it.
It's crunchy.
Yeah, on the inside.
Yeah,
But it's
those are
like if you
good.
hold it in your mouth, it like melts. They're so
Um,
nice.
she would tell you how those are made, and then after that, it's like, hey, you can never have one of those.
She wouldn't never let us have one, but it was quite selective with when we were allowed to have them.
And when you say your mom was in the manufacturing of those, like making the machine or managing the people who are on the line, or she was actually on the line?
She started managing the people on the line. Well, she started managing the people on the line, but because she wanted to have a better idea of sort of what she was working with, I know that she worked on the line at some point. And then she went into HR and I think R&D, and was delivering courses to the graduates and stuff like that Mars were bringing in.
Is she still there?
No, she retired from there a couple of years ago.
Oh, how long was she there?
Maybe 25 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And so she's done working? Your mom's retired?
I would say somewhat. So she doesn't work for a company anymore. She does some consultancy work and that sort of thing, in terms of organizational development. So she sort of picks and chooses what she wants to do, and she does a lot of kind of volunteer work with the swimming club that I used to be involved with and that sort of thing.
So she's a hard your memories, and I guess how you see your mom as a hard worker and an overachiever.
Yeah, I mean, both my parents definitely work very hard, and I think there's always mum likes to give back. So I've got two older sisters, and we were all part of the swimming club, and we must have been involved, or mum must have been involved with the swimming club for like 20 years or so, and then she's still involved there now, even though I left the club 10 years ago.
Was she a swimmer?
No, no, no. I don't really think I've seen mum swim much.
Oh,
But yeah, we grew up on the river. Our house is on the river. So it was a safety thing that they made us all learn to swim really young.
yeah. I'm assuming it's probably very similar in the UK, but I remember hearing this stat for a while. Greg was really into getting kids in the water early as one of the missions of CrossFit because I think the leading cause of death for kids under the age of 5 in the US is drowning.
It's super important. Like I know that kids at most schools sort of learn to swim-ish, but I would say that they don't learn to swim to create a foundation for the rest of their life. They learn to swim to tick the box of what they need to do in school,
Right.
rather than as like a survival skill or anything like that as well. I think it's the only sport where it's a survival skill.
Mm. Greg used to refer it as like if you don't teaching a kid how to swim is to inoculate them from drowning, and I kind of like that.
Yeah, I mean, accidents happen and that sort of thing, but you would like to give your kid the best possible chance, and that's definitely. I'm super grateful that that's what my parents did for us, and like for me, I went further than that, and I competed properly and everything like that. But initially, it was literally just to make sure that we were safe.
Mm. And what's your dad's do? Your dad what? Jeez, Louise, hold on. Let me try my English again. What's your dad's vocation?
So he's now retired, but he used to work in HR at a financial services company.
Oh
He
boy.
does like woodworking now. He makes furniture and that sort of thing. So he's gone like complete 180.
Wow. Yeah, yeah, he went from lots of probably superficial drama to like a hands-on objective art talent. That's
Yeah, I know
crazy.
that that's
What a
why he likes
shift.
it as well, because you can actually like see the finished product as well. Like
Yeah.
you present someone with something and it's like something that you've made, and he gets a real sense of achievement from that.
And the wood's never like, "Hey, you touched me inappropriately. Hey, you shouldn't have put me over there." Wow.
I think Dad was operating at a time where that sort of stuff was less frequent.
Or they didn't talk about it.
Yeah, more the latter.
Yeah. Congratulations, Lucy Campbell. It's so wild, man. You should be so proud. It is. Your performance was nuts. We'll talk about it. I mean, you didn't just take second place, but you really showed up. Are you going to the Coaches Congress?
No, I'm not sure when that is, but I'm currently in the US until the end of August, and then I'm taking a break. Thank goodness.
Are you in the US waiting for another competition to pop up?
I'm in the US for WFP.
And that's in Arizona?
Yeah, end of August.
And how did you decide to stay here instead of go
Just
home?
because dealing with the time zones and stuff like that, like going back is always worse than coming over, but also cost of another set of flights and everything like that. And, you know, being able to, I wouldn't have, if I didn't have my godmother here, I would not be staying over because the cost of accommodation is just a joke. So yeah, I'm super thankful that she's allowed me to stay with her, and that, you know, I found a gym near her that works pretty well for what I need. And so yeah, it allows me to do that.
Tell me about that. So tell me about the planning for that. You qualify for the games, and then do you automatically you call your godmother and you're like, hey, I'm coming for do you know right away that, hey, if I'm going to go to the games, I'm going to stay? And then do you call a gym? Like, how much setup do you do to have these accommodations for you?
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, I think initially I had the idea of staying with my godmother just because of the time frame between the two events and because of the cost. Like, it was, I think, nearly $2,000 for flights and stuff like that. So it was a lot, let alone to then have to do another set of flights. And I think the challenge was finding a gym near her that would actually work for what we need it for, especially because, you know, when you're training at this level, it's not just like that average kit that you need that's in a CrossFit gym. Like, you know, it's the pegboard, it's the yoke, it's an actual bar. So I was actually training somewhere else when I came initially, and then they didn't have any of that extra kit. And so then when the actual bar event was released, we had to look for somewhere else that had an actual bar. And that was actually how I ended up finding this place. And it turns out that they've got, you know, significantly heavier dumbbells, a wider range of sandbags. It's just like better equipped for this level of training. It's actually where, you know, Marquand Jones.
Yeah. Yep.
Where he trains. It's his old affiliate. So yeah, that's been really convenient, because actually we were wondering whether it was going to be the right option to come out to stay with my godmother if we couldn't find somewhere else, if we couldn't find a gym that would work for what we needed it to. So yeah, I'm just super fortunate that, you know, I've got her out here and there was a place nearby, and that makes it all more convenient. But actually, like, sometimes finding the gym that works is the hardest bit.
How close is the gym to your godmother's house?
About 15, 20 minutes.
And how do you make the journey? Do you have access to a car, or do you Uber?
Yeah, I've had to rent a car for the time that I'm here.
Okay, so none of it's cheap.
Oh, it's really expensive.
And how's the driving on the right-hand side of the road?
It's not the driving on the right-hand side of the road. People are crazy.
Yes.
Actual crazy. Like, they'll overtake you just to undertake you to come off at the next exit that is like directly in front of you. And it is terrifying. I do not understand that at all. But, you know, I've been okay so far.
Really, the competitive person in you isn't like, oh, I know that mindset.
I'm driving a rental car. I'm driving a rental car in a foreign country. I am staying where I am, and I'll give people more room than they need.
Hey, the freeways don't confuse you. I remember driving in the UK, and it was always the freeways that would confuse me. It's those because you're used to the clovers going the opposite direction. You know what I mean? You know those.
Yeah.
Like when you get off the freeway and it goes in a circle and it's on the other side, and you're like, oh shit, what's going on here?
Yeah, no, it's definitely like getting used to the roads is quite confusing, because you'll have some lanes where there'll be a turn off and it's just a turn off and the lane carries on going. And then you'll have some where that whole lane just peels off. Yeah. And like that's, nearly caught me out a few times.
Is it second nature to you already? Like, have you been here long enough to where you're like, okay, I'm a right-hand road driver, or no, it's not, you still have to like do, you know what I mean? Like when you talk a foreign language, you got to convert that shit in your head. Is it like that
Yeah,
still? You're like, okay.
it's getting more familiar. I think like when there's other cars on the road, at least then I'm like, okay, I'm driving on the right hand side. But there was one time where I was driving like off a back road and I'd just got a coffee and there were no cars on that road and I started driving on the left and I was like, whoa, okay, no, wrong side.
Well, we have a lot of shitty drivers in this country, so you'll fit right in. Have you ever been to the West Coast?
Yeah, I've been to California. My parents, we did a road trip when I was quite young up like San Fran, San Diego, places like that. We went to Yosemite, rented a camper
Oh,
van, and yeah, it was really cool. But like I was probably too young to really remember everything. I remember bits of it, but I was probably 5 or 6.
the roads are significant. At least, I mean, I grew up on the West Coast. The roads here are significantly better. The driving's significantly easier. On the East Coast, it's almost like the roads are set up to force you to go places. It's weird. It's a trip. I was tripping when we were in Albany that all the freeway exits, like they had like when you get off the freeway to go to a gas station or to eat, it's like it's forced to you. It's mandated. These are your 3 choices, and this is the gas station. It's not like that on the West Coast. You get off the freeway and like you're free. You just open up your iPhone and you can just choose a million places. And we don't have all those weird toll roads that they have on the East Coast. I don't know. The East Coast seems like a foreign country to me, even when I drive over there.
The toll roads are terrifying as well. Like I was at the airport the other day and came out and you know where like all the lanes merge off the toll barriers?
Yeah.
That was terrifying. Like
It
just
goes from
cars
20 to
pulling over.
Yeah, it goes from 20 to 3.
Yeah, that was quite stressful. Especially because I'm like, this is not my car. Like
Right.
I'm gonna get hit with a huge fine if anything happens to this. So yeah.
Do you fly from Mesa back to London when you're done from
Yeah.
Phoenix?
Yeah.
No. What about there's the Wadapalooza SoCal event. You weren't invited to that?
I was invited, but I decided not to do it this year. I think I
Eh,
just needed a bit of a break, especially because like, you know, the last 2 years have been so full on and like even just mentally, I think like I said to them that to me, Rogue is like a home event and I've not really competed in the UK since before I qualified for the games, well before the first time. So I really wanted to prioritize doing that. And I think if I ended up having, you know, 2 events in August, an event in September, an event hopefully in October, and then the WFP final in December, and then before you know it, we're back into the Open and everything like that, it would just be way too much.
And your competition experience is probably, I'm guessing, I'm just throwing it out there, is the least in the field. Regards to you started in 2019, you were out for 2 years. You probably have, which is crazy because of your perfection and execution and your ability to see the field. But you probably had less competition experience than anyone at the CrossFit Games. Would that surprise you if that were true?
No, not really. It definitely feels like that. I still feel quite new sometimes. I still, you know, look at the girls that have been there for a lot longer and you know, they were sort of at that level when I was starting CrossFit. And so I am very aware that, you know, there is still some competitive mistakes that I can make, and it's my job to try and make sure that that doesn't happen.
From listening to you speak, and we'll circle back around to this and get more details on it, but from listening to you speak, it sounds like there were some thoughts in your head going into this season that if you didn't perform at the level that you wanted to and see the promise from your performance, that you were considering quitting and or at least backing away strictly for financial reasons because you needed to make a living. Is it hard to say no to Wadapalooza knowing that there's a little bit of money there?
Yeah, for sure. But I also think that I don't want to. There are certain events that have been on my like bucket list since I started CrossFit, since like the early days that I started CrossFit. And it was like, you know, if I ever got to the level where I was at a games level and people wanted me at the events, these are the events that I want to do. And Rogue has always been one of them. And I know that, you know, I think I've got a bit of FOMO, I'll be honest, not doing Wodapalooza. But I also think I just really want that experience from Rogue. And I also think that it's going to be an event, if I get an invite, it hopefully will be an event that will throw me in at the deep end, because I know that Rogue is unlikely to be an event that suits me in terms of the implements that you have to use, in terms of, you know, the strength bias and everything like that. So I think from that respect as well, it's a really good, it would be a really good experience for me, because I've not, you know, had years and years of experience. It's just like, throw me in at the deep end. It might be a terrible finish, and that's okay, because actually it's the experience that I need.
And you had mentioned that you were half Scottish and that you have family there, and it seemed like that interests you also, to go somewhere where your family can also join you.
Yeah, massively. Like, I know that there's a lot of people that, you know, a lot of the events so far have been in America, and I recognize the massive financial demand that puts on people that might want to come and support. So, you know, having an event that's in Scotland that comparatively, you know, it's not cheap, but it's cheaper. Yeah, it would be nice for them to be there.
Hey, what is the deal? So the UK is this island out in the Atlantic, and you have, I guess, three different people living on that island. You have Welsh people, Scottish people, and English people. Is that the three people?
Yeah, I guess it would be, that's like the main land, and then you've got Ireland and Northern Ireland.
Okay.
Northern Ireland would be considered part of the UK as well.
And what's the difference? What is like what is like the difference between those people? What's the origin? Are you guys all really the same people, but you were just fractioned off? Like, you know, like India and Pakistan, it's like it's the same people, but they have different religious beliefs. What happened there? Like, like roughly, how are there three? Are you guys, because you guys look different, right? Like, you can see someone who's Scottish and be like, yep, that's a Scottish dude.
I think there's more gingers in Scotland. That's a stereotype, at least.
And their heads are shaped different. Like, who's the guy in Australia? I mean, is that guy the real buff guy? He looks Scottish as all get out. Super buff with the crazy traps.
Eddie Hall?
No, is he Scottish?
No.
Oh, no, this guy's a CrossFitter. Someone will say his name. He competed in the games. Oh, Jake Douglas. Is Jake Douglas Scottish? I mean, he looks like he got like
I don't think so.
Oh, all right. Fuck it. Never mind.
Douglas, but are you guys considered a Scottish surname, though?
Say that again?
Douglas would probably be considered a Scottish surname, though. There's a lot of Australians that will have Scottish heritage or UK heritage, because we went through a phase of shipping convicts over to Australia. So that was
solid. Good job.
Of. Yeah.
But when I see his head, I'm like, yeah, that's a Scottish dude. Are you guys all the same people basically, but you guys broke off into tribes and just started breeding with kind of like in your groups, or do you know?
So, well, I think it comes back to, you know, the time when we had kings and the English king was fighting the Scottish king, and then the English king won, and I think the English king won. I don't know, my history isn't amazing, but then became king of England and Scotland, particularly. I don't know where Wales fits into this, but yeah, it's. I think if you talk to specific people in Scotland, they very much will not want to be included in that sort of conversation.
Okay. Hold on. I have to fight with someone in the chat. Dude, there's no Scottish look. They're white. They look like us. Hey, listen, you jackass. If you go to Africa, they're all black. They look nothing alike. The Sudanese look nothing like the Kenyans, and the Kenyans look nothing like the Somalis, and the Ethiopians look nothing like those other three. If you can't tell, it's like you can't tell the difference between a Korean person and a Chinese person. They look nothing alike. What do you?
Also, not all Scottish people are white.
Oh, really?
Well, there's black people that are Scottish.
Oh, right. But that's I guess that's. Is Scottish an ethnicity?
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. It's just a nationality?
I think so.
Oh, yeah, well, yeah, then yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah. I didn't mean it in terms of the nationality. Yeah, they probably even have Armenian Scottish people who look like me. They do, Lucy, don't laugh. They do.
We're all descended from Africa anyway, so
Yeah.
the evidence is there.
I like it how you and the Australians like to throw R's in places. I like that. Africa.
Africa.
Yeah,
Is
well,
there an R at the end of that?
now you said it right. Now you said it right.
Because otherwise I'd have to go Africa anyway, whereas Africa anyway is
Yeah,
just,
okay.
flows.
It's very nice. I'm gonna assume the Australians got it from you since you sent your people over there. I want to go back to this CrossFit Roseland. So when you call them, is it you're like, hey, I'm Lucy Campbell and I'm going to the games, and they're like, and I want to train there after the games, and they're like, who? And then now you're there, and they're like, oh shit.
I don't really know what happened their end, but from my perspective, I messaged them and was like, hey, I'm looking for somewhere to train in the run up to the games, and then after the games between then and WFP. Can I just check like what kit you guys have? Because I know that we found a picture where there was an axle bar in the background, so that was what we were looking for. And then they were like, yeah, how long are you going to be here for? And then they were like, this is the sort of membership cost for like open gym. I was like, yeah, fine. Came over, and they've just been super accommodating. Like, I've got a fob if I need to get in out of hours, or if I need to stay outside the class times and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been really good. But it was so funny because the first time that I came in, there was one of the coaches who came over, and he was like, oh, like, hi, how are you doing? And I explained the situation. I was like, my name's Lucy, I'm going to the games. And he went away and he comes back and he goes, McGonagall. And I was like, no, the other one.
Yes.
And then he was like, oh, where's your posse? Like, do you not have a posse with you? And I was like, no, it's just me. And he was like, oh, okay. I was like, it's bizarre that people think that you would come with a posse, but yeah, that made me laugh.
And have you been back to the gym since the games? Have you been to Roseland since you've been to the games? Oh, I guess you're there now.
Yeah, I'm here now. So I've seen some of the people that I've sort of got to know, and they're all super excited. And obviously, like, you walk into a CrossFit gym and not every member will follow the competitive side of CrossFit. So there's still, a lot of people that don't really know what's happened, and that's fine. I'm used to that. And then there's other people that will sort of look at you a little bit differently, or obviously the coaches are super excited, and yeah, it's been nice.
Yeah, that's cool. So it has been there. I mean, they're excited. You went to the games, you had a tremendous showing, and now you come back and they're like, oh, congratulations, Lucy. You feel the love.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Any coaches come over to you and be like, hey, Lucy, let me help you with your deadlift, or let me help you with your snatch, or Lucy, let me help you with your chest to bar pull up?
No, I just sort of keep myself to myself.
And do you have anyone there who has eyes on you? Or do you just take video and send it to your coach, or?
Yeah, just video and send to my coach. My coach was out just for the games, and then went back. He's not coming to WFP. So we're not in person anyway. So I usually just record and then try and remember to send them to him.
And what's his name or her name?
Cyril Grecky.
Yeah, is that a boy? Cyril Grecky?
He's French.
Cyril,
French, but lives in the UK.
Okay. And how did you find him?
So Cyril used to be part of a training camp called Red Pill Training, and that was run by Phil Mansfield and James Jousey. So Phil coached Sarah Sigmundsdottir for a bit, and Jouse coached Briggsy and McQuaid. So I went to that training company initially in 2020, back end of 2020, looking for a coach, and I was assigned to Cyril.
Is that the guy who has the famous line in that old documentary where he's yelling at Sarah?
Get back to the no, that's not him.
Oh. What's he yell at her? Pick up the bar.
Get back to the bar.
Those guys were wild. I remember when Sarah came
Yeah.
to the games that year with those two guys. Those guys were wild. They were characters.
Didn't he get like banned?
Maybe. I don't know what happened. I liked him, but he was wild. He was cantankerous. He was a trip.
Yeah, he's weightlifting 101 on Instagram. He's still doing quite a lot of work with a lot of the elite guys.
Yeah, he if that's the kind of coaching, I mean, I'm sure there's people out there who like that kind of coaching. They just want someone just riding them.
It would rub me up the wrong way.
Rub you up the wrong way. Oh, so did you get red pilled when you were at red pilled training?
I knew you were going to ask me something like that. No, absolutely not. Don't count me with those people.
All right. There's still time. There's still time. And Lucy, I want to. Like 3 or 4 times I heard you explain your injury, or your. I guess you wouldn't even call it an injury, your situation, but I couldn't get my head really wrapped around it. Could you explain to me, what happened? And I got some questions about it.
So I guess the easiest way to put it is that it's a genetic condition. So it was caused by something called Campbell's disease, which I don't know entirely a lot about, but essentially the disease itself means that for some reason, and there are a few different ways that this can happen, and I'll explain mine in a second. For some reason, the blood circulation to your lunate bone, which is the bone in your wrist, gets cut off, which means that the impact of all of the stuff that we were doing for training and CrossFit and everything like that, basically meant that the bone dies, and then because of that impact it fractures, but it fractured really badly. So there were multiple tiny fragments, some of which are still in my wrist, and they couldn't essentially pin any one of the fragments together or any 2 of the fragments together because the pieces were so small. And so that was the surgeon that little one there, that was the surgeon that told me that my career was done, because he couldn't think of a way to fix the lunate bone. And so the only options that he was really giving me was plating my wrist, which would have given me 0 wrist extension.
Meaning catching anything like this?
Meaning any sort of deviation from this position.
Okay, so you wouldn't have been able to do handstands or
nothing
cleans
like that.
Okay.
And then I went to a couple of different surgeons after that. And the last surgeon that I went to ended up scanning not just my wrist, but also both forearms. And he noticed that on
Can I ask you a question before you go there? Why didn't you accept his diagnosis? Why did you go to someone else?
I think there's a couple of things. I think firstly, because there was so much up until that point of the surgery that I was still able to do. Like I'd gone through most of that season where I'd had this pain in my wrist and I'd managed to compete at the games. And I was like, so how are you telling me that I can do all that and now I can't do the sport anymore? That didn't make sense to me. But also I think, with any of these things, it's good to get a second opinion. And there was a surgeon, which is a surgeon that I ended up seeing, the second surgeon, that I had actually wanted to see really early on. And he's in Belfast, so we had to fly. We were at the airport, checked in everything through security. I got a phone call from his secretary saying that he was cancelling all of his appointments for the foreseeable future. And so I was obviously like devastated. We had to get taken out.
Do you start crying?
Oh, yeah.
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 You fly there and you get a call. You're because that's your hope. You got all your. Oh, okay. But you have all your hope on this. Okay.
Yeah. And so he actually got really ill, and then he was starting to take appointments again after I'd had this other surgery. And so when I found that out.
What was the first surgery you had? So you did have a surgery to try to fix it? And what was that one?
the first surgery wasn't necessarily to try and fix it, because up until that point, up until the first surgery, there was nothing in the x-rays or anything like that was showing it. And actually, when you look back at the x-rays, there is a very fine line. You can actually see the fracture. But when I talked to my friend who's a radiologist, he was saying that the only reason that he could tell you that there is a fracture in that x-ray is because he knows that he's looking for that fracture specifically. It's so faint that you wouldn't notice otherwise. So up until that first surgery, we didn't know. We actually just thought that it was inflammation that was causing all this pain, but it was sort of also an exploratory surgery. So it was going to be a potential debridement, so clearing out the wrist essentially,
okay,
but also exploring to see what it was. Okay. And then that was when he actually found the fracture. That was the first time that we knew that it was a fracture.
And that was the same guy who did that, was the guy that said, your career's over, we're going to put a plate in there and seal that sucker up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And so then I think the other reason then, coming back to it, was that I didn't accept his sort of response, was that I wanted to see this other surgeon. When I found out that he was well and starting to take clients again, I wanted to see him and make sure that he had the same opinion, or just see what he thought. So yeah, my appointment with him was early July in 2023, and he scanned both of my forearms, both of my wrists, and he noticed that on my right hand side, which was my injured side, my radius bone was longer than my ulnar.
Is the radius the big one?
Yeah, the radius is the main one. The ulnar sort of just supports it a bit.
The one on the left here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So essentially the knock-on effect of that was that the forces in my wrist weren't balanced, like what bones were taking what forces and that sort of thing. Because if you imagine that, like at the moment, it's almost level, it creates that nice little cup.
Yeah.
But if you imagine that there is then a discrepancy in length between the ulnar and the radius, then the whole wrist doesn't sit right.
Yeah, and that bone will take the brunt force of it instead of it being displaced over that whole surface.
Yeah,
okay.
Exactly.
Makes sense.
And
okay.
So like the way that I think of it is like the wrist is like a bridge. So if any one of them is off, then the bridge collapses.
Okay.
So my wrist was at risk of collapsing if I didn't do anything about it. And so he proposed that we essentially shorten the radius to level it out with my ulnar, so that you then create that nice little sort of cup for it to sit in again. And then plate and pin the radius.
Okay, so, let me ask you a real quick question. Was the lunate bone already too damaged for that to be a successful surgery? So is that what you were saying? It had already crumbled, and so it didn't matter if you shortened the
the lunate bone was the radius.
The radius, so it wouldn't matter if you shortened the radius because the lunate bone was already destroyed?
So essentially, the lunate bone was destroyed, but the periosteum, which is what the bone sits in, it's like a capsule that sits around the bone. There was still blood circulation to that. So although the fragments were losing blood circulation, there was still
which they need to heal.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. There was actually still a chance that with the blood circulation response to the intentional fracturing of the radius, that actually your body might be able to regrow a lunate bone in that space because the periosteum was still intact.
Wow.
So this is what we mean when we say that this was like a very risky surgery, because we weren't sure how far down that line in terms of the decay the periosteum would be, or in terms of like what the chances were with regrowing that bone.
Yeah.
But so that was essentially like why it was such a difficult decision, because he hadn't done the surgery on a ton of patients, and the patients that he had done it on, it wasn't necessarily the level of demand that CrossFit would have it in, would have on the wrist that, we were trying to rehab. And also generally, like, there wasn't a ton of data on this surgery in an athletic population as well. So it's like the fact that the surgery itself was rare, but the fact that the surgery was even rarer in athletes, like we just didn't really have anything to go off. But I remember saying to my mum that if if he had presented me with that option at the start when I was initially meant to see him, I probably wouldn't have gone with it, because it's so like crazy and so
it is crazy. Shaving the bone down is crazy.
Yeah. So it wasn't even shaving. They cut the bone and removed 5 millimeters of bone.
How much is 5 millimeters? Like, how much is that? Like, can you see? Is that?
It's like half a centimeter.
And 2.5 centimeters is an inch.
Is an inch. So I guess it's like a quarter of an inch, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
And has your lunate bone grown back?
So I actually went to see my surgeon just before the games, and we didn't want to x-ray it at the time, because I was like, if there is any possibility that there is anything in that x-ray that could play with my head, I don't want to know just yet.
Right.
So I'm going to go back when we go back, when I get back to the UK. But there are places where you can feel certain bones, obviously, and he knows a lot more about it than I do. But he was like, I'm feeling something. I'm definitely feeling more than what I was feeling before. It's just a case, that we don't 100% know. It would have to be an x-ray that would show us that for sure.
Do you take like stuff like arginine or vasodilators or anything to like send more blood there? Were you on any medication, like, supplements to help blood flow?
I take like beetroot and stuff like that anyway, which is a vasodilator. But no, not like, it was very much, I wasn't allowed to be in areas where there were smokers around or anything like that. It was so I was also in, what is it? Like oxygen therapy. So you go into an oxygen chamber, you're taking in pure oxygen, just to try and get as much to it as I could.
And so Chase Ingram, my public apology for calling you Lucy McGonigal one time this past weekend. Do we accept his apology?
We accept the apology.
Apology accepted. All right. Adrian Conway, one of the classiest human beings alive. This woman's energy and presence fires me up and makes me want to compete single arm zombie style cleans at the CrossFit Games. Why is the zombie clean not? For those of you who don't know, that's when you catch one side on your shoulder.
Yeah.
Is that necessary, or that's just to try to preserve the bone?
So there are still some things that cause me pain and can be a bit irritable for the wrist. So full front rack is one of them, because it's not just like that front rack position in itself, but also then where the weight actually ends up sitting just puts way more pressure through the wrist. So we're very selective with when I have to do stuff like that. And on that event, it didn't require it. So like, as in we weren't going overhead, it wasn't shoulder to overheads or anything like that. Obviously in the final where you've got thrusters, then I have to do the full warm up, and it's quite an it's an extensive proper front rack warm up for those events. But because I didn't need to, I basically just didn't.
And so they cut the ulna radius. Sorry, they cut the big bone, the radius. They do all that. You clearly don't get a full year of training in complete training. You show up to the games, but was there any plate, or is there anything in there?
Yeah.
There is a
plate that probably goes from here down to like here
to help stabilize the. Why do I have so much trouble with that bone? What is it? The ulna,
radius.
The radius.
Yeah, to help stabilize the radius.
To help stabilize the radius.
Yeah.
Hey, any chance the radius will be like, hey, fuck you, you cut me off, I'm growing back?
I don't think it should be. It's probably just healed onto the other part of the bone now. Like there's an option for me to get the plate removed, and I might do that at some point because I can still feel it. And so when I do like kettlebell work and stuff like that, it's super painful because of the pressure that it puts on certain parts of it.
Yeah.
So yeah, at the moment, like I'm wearing a guard when I do kettlebell stuff just to like stop the impact onto that part of the bone.
Biomaxpeptides.com. If you take those, don't say anything.
I absolutely don't take those.
I know, but maybe you will. Oh no, you never know. Maybe someone will put some in your drinking water. What's crazy is that there's a difference on how it feels from front rack to handstand walk to muscle ups. So I would have thought any movement with the wrist would cause pain.
Yeah, it is a very different stimulus. Those three things are wildly different. So I've not got back to doing strict ring muscle ups yet because of where the pressure goes on your wrist. It's something that we're thinking about trying to build back in, but at the moment it's not really a risk that I want to take at this point in time.
Yeah, do elite athletes even do strict muscle ups? As I did that, I was like, shit, I'm showing my age. Does anyone do strict ring muscle ups anymore in the competitive field?
Yeah.
They do? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Like, well, I definitely used to when I could. Okay. The handstand walk, so this was what I was saying about the difference between the front rack position here, where the weight would push like these parts of your bone down. And so then the impact of how that feels on the wrist versus a handstand walk where number one, you can turn your hands out. So there's not quite as much angle through that part of the wrist. But number two, because you've got a completely flat hand, the pressure isn't just through one part, it's distributed a bit more evenly. So I still get pain on handstand walks, but the reason that it came back, like the ability to do handstand walks came back sooner than my ability to do front rack was for that reason, that it's a bigger distribution in terms of where the mass sits.
Hey, you dodged a bullet a bit by there not being, like, if that back squat would have been a max clean and jerk, you had had to come up with a pretty significant game plan.
The thing is, so I would have done it, right, like for Wadland Fest.
Because you're a bad dude.
So for Wadland Fest, my qualifying event, we had a heavy complex, which was a clean jerk, hang clean jerk. And I could do it. Like I'm not one of the strongest in the field anyway. So it's like, for me, those events are always about just trying not to, be actual bottom of the pack. But if I can avoid it, I will.
It's interesting. I don't remember the event, but we were doing a CrossFit Games update show, and I had John on and probably Tyler and the gang, and we were talking, and I didn't know much about you, but I knew that you were a great swimmer. And I know in swimming that it's a lot of repetitive motion, right? So, and they were saying that they didn't think you were going to do well in this event. I can't remember the event, but it had a lot of something in it. And I said, hey, if it's below her, like if that weight's not heavy for her, she's probably going to win, because she's probably, from swimming, she's just great at cycling, just everything. Like she can just go forever. Because if you can swim, right, it's just this over and over and over. So once something falls into your range of not being heavy, you're a problem for the rest of the field. Is that an accurate characterization of you? Like the engine's big and repetitive motion is not your problem as long as it falls within your threshold of weights.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm good at
I wish I could remember the event. I think it was, say that again.
I'm good at staying with it on long events in terms of, like, even from a mental perspective, it's a lot of people sort of let their mind drift sometimes. And so I'm pretty good with not letting that happen and maintaining the focus, because most of the events that I was doing was anywhere from 2 minutes if it was a 200 up to 2 hours if it was a 10K.
If I heard these right and all the different podcasts like absorbed in the last 48 hours about you, that every sport you've done, you kind of had Olympic aspirations. Like you did gymnastics, you had Olympic aspirations, then you saw the Olympics and you're like, okay, maybe I need to pivot. When you saw those girls compete in Beijing, or I forget which Olympics you went to. And then you did track and field. You were running, and you're like, okay, were you national champion in some running event?
No, I
No.
didn't
Okay.
do track and field. I didn't do track and field. I did it for
Oh,
school. I did school
okay.
sport.
Okay. And then with swimming, you had those same aspirations too. Okay, I'm just going to take this to the highest level and become the best in the world. That's kind of
Yeah.
like where you in anything you get involved in, you start automatically just being like, "Where's the top? I'm going there."
Yeah, I think with wanting to be an Olympian, like I just loved the Olympics. Like I
Mhm.
love the whole festival of it. I love the fact that I think the fact that it happens every 4 years, and it's you have to be really on it for that 1 week or that one weekend or whatever, and that's the moment. And it's not a redo next year. Like there's so much extra pressure that comes with that, which is why I think that Olympic athletes are the Olympic gold medalists are the best of everything else. Like I think that was always one of the things that I liked about it, and I I love seeing how good I can be. I love seeing if I can, be as good as I want to be. But ultimately, I think in any sport that I've done, I've wanted to just see how far I can take it. And, the goal is to take it to the top. But I think the thing that actually was different for me about CrossFit than it was for anything else was the fact that there was just so much more to learn that I loved. Like with swimming, it was just, especially when you're a distance swimmer, like I've got the technique down. You can do technical stuff, but actually, like distance athletes, you are just hammered with training, and you'd like be swimming up and down doing horrible sets, and the sprinters would be out practicing their dives. Like it was hard. Um, so I think, yeah, like I liked the fact that with CrossFit, it wasn't that. It wasn't just about training really hard. Now it's about training really hard, but there's always technical stuff that you can get better at.
Um, Talk to me about like the people who are the best in the world at long events that they really do my understanding now more and more I've kind of always known it, but it's been refreshed ever since I spoke to Jason. I was like, oh, this is a good refresher course for me, that you really understand relative intensity. Like just because you go long doesn't mean you're dropping into zone 2. It's like
No,
and you talk about that one of your gifts, or one of the things that you're good at is pacing. Internally, you have a good pacer and relative intensity. It sounds like that's what you have your head wrapped around. Long doesn't mean go slower. It means, like, push as hard as you can without falling off the cliff for a long time.
yeah. And the thing is that, like, at different levels of fitness, that is different. So if you're not a super fit person, just being able to move for, you take event one, for instance, at the games, just being able to move for that amount of time might mean that you have to be in zone 2. But as you get fitter, you look at the T100 triathletes and they're in zone 4 and 5 for the whole event, and that's a 3-hour event. So as you get fitter, your threshold just becomes higher and higher. So now, I think I was in zone 4, high zone 4 for most of event one, because the ability to maintain that higher pace is better.
And do you train like that also? And is that hard to do that? You train alone?
Yeah.
Yeah, is that hard to do that, to keep yourself in that spot, to not get lax and just check the boxes?
Um, I think I never want to come away from training feeling like I've just ticked a box.
Mm.
So I'm usually like, even if I go into it feeling mentally like I'm just like not 100% today, I think I always come out of it being like, okay, well, if this is all you've got in the tank, and if on an objective level I'm at 70-80% today, if I can squeeze out 100% of the 70-80%, then I've done what I can. Like that's got to be the win for it, rather than being like, oh, well, I didn't do as good as if I was walking in 100% that day. You know what I mean? And I think I always find that if I just start it, I trust myself to pull myself up to where I know that I can be on that day.
When you take when you have that, are you happy with your finish at the games?
Yeah.
Did you get to enjoy it, or is there any party that's not happy?
Not happy overall. I think there's events that I wish not necessarily went differently. I think there are events that I'm a little bit frustrated with. But on the whole, I'm really, like, I came second in the world. I can't not be happy with that, especially second in the world to Tia, who's just, a different level.
The greatest who ever did it.
Yeah.
By far.
Yeah.
And that's got to be fun to be in her era also, to be able to compete against the greatest that ever did it.
Yes and no. I think I feel like this next generation of women can't win. And what I don't mean can't win physically. Obviously, like, we have to beat Tia to win. But I mean, like, unless we beat Tia, there will always be the question of, would she have beaten Tia? Like, would she have beaten Tia at her best? Or right. She's not as good as Tia. Or, even if someone ends up beating Tia, it will be a case of, but she's 9 years in now. Like, her focus is elsewhere. She's not doing it properly anymore. Like, I think there's always those caveats. And I think that's the thing that frustrates me, is that, like, you can only ever beat the person where they're at the time that they're at, and so that's where it's a bit, like, frustrating, because I wore the leaders jersey for a little bit, and that was super cool and such a special experience. And then I had a 1 rep max back squat, which I knew going into it was going to be one of my worst events. And so then Tia took back the leaders jersey. But, had it been event 6 and 7, that might have gone differently. And I might have held the leaders jersey for a little bit longer. Right. But I think that's the thing that's really hard. It's like, everyone puts caveats on your performance because Tia is the best to ever do it. So there's a lot, and, like, I read the comments, and I know that sometimes that's not super helpful for me, but the number of people that are, like, talking about the pegboard situation and Tia's pegboard situation, it's like, all of those pegboards, I can't speak about, lane 2 or whatever. I didn't really pay much attention to that at the time, but I know that my pegboard was like, it was covered in Vaseline. Like, I've shown I can't remember who it was, the video where I first get onto the pegboard, and it's like my legs are going like this. Yeah. And
like a cartoon.
Yeah, it was like, those cartoons where the legs start going and then they start moving.
That's that's what I was picturing, like the old Roadrunner cartoon.
Yeah. And so it's frustrating that, it feels like sometimes a lot of people don't just take it as it is. And there's always the kind of caveats on why I got the leaders jersey or whatever. But, I think that's why I say that there's pros and cons to being in it at a time where Tia's in it.
Right. What is interesting about sports, though, sports are really like, what have you done for me lately? And so once she's out for a year, that will diminish quickly. Do you know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
So? You don't think so?
Yeah, I disagree. Because think about, like, how many people, I mean, Chase, I don't know if Chase is still in the chat. Chase goes on about Michael Jordan or whoever it is that he talks about all the time. Like, when you've got someone that's that dominant, the chat doesn't stop like that. You know what I mean? Like, it lingers for a lot longer.
Yeah, I guess I forget how long Matt's been gone, but for sure I haven't heard one person say Matt would have beat Jason or Rich would have beat Jason. But then again, I guess I kind of forget that Matt probably hasn't. I don't know. Has it been 5 years since Matt's done it? Yeah, 4 years.
2020.
Okay. Do you see yourself as Where do you see yourself in your career? Do you see yourself? I mean, you're 2 years younger than Tia, and she's the oldest person to ever win, if you believe what people are saying. Someone needs to look at how old OPT was. I don't know how old OPT was.
I think I find it difficult to answer questions like that because I don't know how long my wrist will allow me to do this. Like, I think for me, it very much depends on what the body is saying to me. And I'm not willing to fully break my body to carry on doing this for another 10 years. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be able to, I've spoken about the impact of my wrist on how I saw my future, and, you know, playing with kids, playing sport with kids, like doing all that stuff, I still see as a super important part of my life. And I don't want to drag out CrossFit for an extra, you know, 5 or 6 years just to sort of feel like I have the career that I was meant to have, even though that's a ridiculous thing to say, given, you know, how the comeback has played out and everything like that. But I still want to be able to do CrossFit into my 50s and 60s and 70s. And I want to be able to play sport and all of that sort of stuff. So I think I still see myself fairly early on in my career, but I'm also not, I'm not taking it for granted, the ability to carry on.
Who from your family was there at the games?
So my mum, dad, godmother, my sister, or one of my sisters, her boyfriend, and then my boyfriend. And then my middle sister, so the one just above me, she was actually moving house this weekend, which is why she wasn't able to come.
Is your boyfriend still there? Did he stay?
He stayed for a couple of days. We went to New York, and then he's flown back now.
Were you able to? So it's over, and you get drug tested, right? And then were you staying at the Renaissance? Just where you just walk up there and go up there?
I was staying at the Country Inn and Suites, so it was nearby.
Do you walk there?
Yeah.
And so did you walk there with him? Do you stay with him even during competition?
No, he was staying with my family. My family rented an Airbnb.
And then are you able to? Do you enjoy your victory by yourself? Is there someone you're able to enjoy your victory with? Like, do you go back to your hotel room and just like? I just picture all the games athletes when it's over, opening their bedroom door, jumping on their bed, and putting their face in a pillow and crying. Just like, holy shit. I don't think people realize how emotional it is back there. I mean, it's everyone's just all over the place because of the physical exhaustion, right? And the tension.
And so we went out for dinner, like as a big group, with my coach as well. And then I actually just had to go back and pack, to be honest. So my family came back and we were just sat in the room talking and packing and trying to decide what could go home with my parents and what I still needed for the next couple of weeks, and then also what I needed to take to New York. Yeah, it was just an evening of packing. It was very unglamorous, to be honest. There was no after party as well this year. I was fully ready to celebrate.
You didn't go to the bar with? I heard Matt Torres took a bunch of athletes to the bar. You didn't go?
I think he took the brute athletes, so no, I didn't go.
Oh, okay. I think that there were some non-brute athletes there.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't hear anything about that.
Sevon is projecting. I'm fully projecting. I mean, I want to go home after the week. I want to go home after filming all weekend and hanging out, and I want to just like go in my bedroom, and I don't want anyone. I need to like completely decompress. It's like when I'm around that many people, I feel like I'm holding in so much shit, and it's got to get out, or I'm gonna explode.
I think the thing is as well that I recognize that, and like I've always been like this after a competition, especially like there is a massive low after a competition because we've been so high all weekend.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, high as in like you know, the ups and downs, the alertness, like the level of adrenaline that's in your body.
Yeah, the alertness, like right? Like you're like.
Yeah, and like so you do just you have this massive adrenaline dump, and I know that in those sorts of situations I can get a bit grouchy sometimes, like just because it feels so different to how it's felt in the heat of the moment. But there was also like a ton of emotion, you know, when I was just like, even just packing up my kit with my coach, and like I've got my laptop case which has the medal in it, and like I just like seeing that and realizing, I think, like what we've done and how, you know, how shit some of the last 2 years have been, nearly 3 years. It was 3 years since I was back at the games, and just taking that all in, that's when I just have those like super emotional moments, and my coach would be looking at me and I'd be like, I don't know why I'm crying, but I just like start crying. And hey, yeah.
What was your all-time low? So you go to the CrossFit Games in 2022. You make a big splash. You win 2 events. People think you're really cool. You're extremely articulate. People love you, and everyone who crosses paths with you has nothing but positive things to say about you. You do the commentating. Everyone's like, we were all blown away. We're like, how the fuck is she doing this? And she even talks with that funny accent, and we can still understand her. Two-part question. When you're at your ultimate low, do you make a plan to get back to the games, or do you just push it all away and be like, hey, I'm just going to ignore how shitty this is and put my head down and see, and like when I come out of the tunnel, I'll look up?
Yeah, like it was very much the latter. You just had to like squash everything. I think had I gone,
you can't even think about it because it's too much, like your situation.
Well, it's too much and it's too far away. Like, I think had I gone into it with the whole games goal in my head,
this is like back into 2022 when you realize you're fucked. Okay, or 23. Okay.
And or even post surgery, when we're rehabbing the surgery, the second surgery, there were so many uncertainties. Like, I could have gone through that whole surgery rehab and it still not really have worked, or the issue was so big that it didn't matter how hard I tried, I wouldn't be able to get back. There were just too many movements that I couldn't do or anything like that. And that could have been my experience. And I didn't know whether that was going to be my experience or not. I didn't know what the situation was. Like, you know, I still had so many questions coming up to December 2024. Like, I still wasn't properly front racking in December 24. Crazy. And so,
were you still trying? Were you still trying? You hadn't started zombieing?
No, so zombie was a technique that we developed so that I could practice cleans. Okay. So that I could try and get back into cleans, because otherwise there was no way that I would have been able to practice that whole movement. And like, it is something that I need to work on. And even from a mental perspective, I know that it's something that I need to work on. So I couldn't afford not to be doing anything that was related to cleans. And so that was why we started doing the zombies and everything like that. And so I think, like, when I was really in the midst of it, it was the fact that just any sort of return to competition was so uncertain. That's why I couldn't afford to think about the games, because I was like, actually, my bigger concern at that point was the fact that I couldn't put on moisturizer without my wrist hurting. I couldn't chop vegetables or cut food without my wrist hurting. Like, those were the more immediate things for me that I was like, this really affects my life, just generally. Whatever I choose to do with CrossFit and with sport or anything like that, those are the things that affect how I feel on a day-to-day basis the most. And so I think, like, you know, it was trying to get that sort of stuff back where I was, you know, in a mostly painless or pain-free, or at least minimal pain in those sorts of things, that then I was like, okay, now we think about CrossFit. And then when I was able to get back to doing, you know, most stuff in CrossFit, then it was like, okay, now can I compete? And then I competed at Marbella, and then the question was, well, at what level can I compete? And so that was then where we took it all. And, like, you know, I think the most nervous point was doing the Wodapalooza qualifiers, because that was my first time really putting myself back on the leaderboard with names that people know, with names that I know, with names that I know where I was relative to them pre-injury. And, that those qualifiers were pretty good. There was,
how did
obviously
you do in the qualifier? I know you won Wodapalooza. How did you do in the qualifier?
I actually can't remember. I was pretty low on the hang clean event, but then really high on the rest of them.
Okay.
So, that's
so you didn't win the qualifier.
No.
Okay. Did your coach, so subconsciously at least, you were still training the only way Lucy knows how. You were going hard, but they were limited within the parameters of this pain.
Yeah.
And it would be too overwhelming to be like, this is the goal.
Yeah.
But okay. And how is your how long have you been with your boyfriend?
It'll be 2 years in October.
And how did you meet him?
He's a member at my friend's gym.
And you met him after the injury?
Yeah, I was like in the midst of the injury when I met him.
And are you surprised that you have a boyfriend? Like were you looking for a boyfriend, or just like it's like one of those situations you're not looking for and it's like, who the fuck are you? Oh shit, here we go.
I think it's interesting because I think I guess a slight benefit to being injured is that you can, or at least my way of trying to deal with it was by trying to allow myself to open myself up to the rest of what life can offer. I went to Australia during that time and Bali, and that was a lot of fun. And I think, actually, had I not been injured, I probably wouldn't have gone to, we met at there's an event called Strength in Depth in July in the UK. And had I not been injured, I probably wouldn't have gone to watch my friends at that event. And then because I went to watch my friends at that event, that was how we met. But I think,
is he an English guy? Is he a guy from your country?
Yeah. And so I think it's interesting because now that I'm back training full time, it's definitely, harder to balance those sorts of things. But I think on the whole, we do a pretty good job of it. And he's very understanding that, I might not be super responsive on my phone sometimes when I'm training through the day and that sort of thing. And it's been a nice outcome of being injured.
Yeah. Did he know? Did you know? So I'm just picturing you guys standing around and people are working out and he's standing next to you and then he stands closer to you and he's like, hi. Was he courting you like on purpose?
No, that wasn't what happened. It was a bit more like, my friend who owns a gym is always like, she was always trying to set me up anyway. And she was like, oh, is there any of the guys from here that you think are attractive? And I said, oh, well, he's quite attractive. And then it was that classic, like, they had like a girl's house and a boy's house. And so then the boys' house found out and they were like, oh, what do you think of Lisa Campbell? And then, that was how it happened.
And it was off. It was off to the races. Do your parents like him?
I think so. I hope so.
Is he equipped to handle your dedication to your focus, your goals?
Yeah, I would like, he's very very patient and understanding with it all.
Yeah. It's an important thing if you want to be with great people. You got to give them space. Great people need space to do shit.
Yeah, and I can be like, especially around training and that sort of thing, I can be quite, I'm going to say highly strung, but I mean like I can be quite picky with stuff, and I don't sacrifice my training for a lot.
Right.
And so I think if I was with someone that wasn't, involved in CrossFit as well, it would be hard to get them to understand that. But I've never had to I've never had to sort of question that or explain that.
Right. He's not jealous. He's not jealous of your goals.
No.
He doesn't try to conflict with them.
No.
Yeah. Very important, poignant comment. Madeline, I heard my hand opening a pickle jar 2 weeks ago. All right. Well, thank you for sharing that. It's been a bitch. All right. Yeah.
It is a bitch.
Yeah. All right. All right. Who would have thought pickle jars are dangerous? What is your go-to technique if a jar's too difficult to open? Do you get a wet rag, or do you hit it with a knife? I picture English people doing the knife hitting thing. What is your go-to for loosening?
I just twist it harder.
Okay. All right. Yeah. All right. When you get older, you got to think of other shit. You got to be like sometimes I have to have my kids hold it or my wife hold it. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen those Yeti gallon-sized water jugs.
Yeah.
Holy shit, those things go on there tight. And sometimes I have to call my wife over. I'm like, hey, this is a 2-man job. Someone's got to hold it while the other person cranks on it. That's what her boyfriend's for. Oh, don't be sexist. Come on. You take second at the games, crazy, and now you're getting ready to do this Big W event in Arizona. Goal to win it?
We'll see. I think there's a 1 rep max clean in there, but from the way that it looks on paper, I think it might only be 50-point score. So hopefully that won't affect it too much. I think the last event will definitely be challenging for me with my wrist. My snatches aren't back to where they used to be yet. And it's also an event so it's ring muscle ups, snatches at 70 kilos, bar muscle ups, clean and jerks at 70 kilos. And obviously because of the format of that, I can't wear a wrist strap on it for the barbell. So that's definitely going to be a challenge for sure. I've not spoken to my coach about that yet, but I don't tend to go in with goals of outcomes. I'll have goals for each of the events, which is usually just to kind of execute it in the way that I want to, in the way that I've sort of planned with my coach, but also then, make the smart changes on the floor if I feel like I need to manage the event better. And if I do that and I'm happy with how I've performed each individual event, then you've got to be okay with the outcome.
Has the zombie situation, has that helped your line of action? Has it actually helped your technique on the clean, because you have to you're hyper focused on keeping the bar extremely close to your body at all times, not letting it drift?
I think it's definitely changed the way that I clean. I have a consistently higher contact point now. So I think that's a good thing. It's definitely, my coach would probably say more about, line of action or whatever in that respect. But from how it feels, from my perspective, it definitely feels more powerful and feels snappier. It's always a work in progress, but it's moving in the right direction for sure.
And because of your athletic prowess, was it pretty easy? Obviously it's not ideal, but when you did it, were you like, yeah, I can, with 100 pounds, was it like, yeah, this is nothing, I have no issues or fears of it coming off the front rack and my shoulder?
Yeah, no, I wasn't concerned about it. The thing is that actually it's almost easier to fail. You just take your hands away. So you fail it very similarly to how you would fail a normal clean. So yeah, it didn't concern me.
It just feels like there's way less room for error, because really you have to catch it almost in between that meaty part of your neck and the collarbone every time.
You have to catch it perfectly because it's so easy for it to come off. And also because you haven't got both hands there, you can't push it back on. There's no saving it. If you're not in the perfect position at the bottom, the bar's just going to fall off the front rack. And so I think as well, people get a bit confused with where the bar sits, because the number of people that have been like, oh, she's going to break her collarbone. But the thing is that where it sits is essentially where you would sit anyway in a front rack, because when your arm's extended, it's basically just on that shoulder.
Right.
Which is exactly the same position as it would be if you had your hands on the bar.
When I teach my kids the cleans, I mean, and they're, you know, I mean, they're using 15 to 30 pounds. I have them do the no hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bam. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
just let go. Just to help them be like, hey, dude, that's where it's got to sit
Yeah.
on those shoulders. You have your level 1 and your level 2, and you coach.
Yeah.
You love
Yeah.
coaching, or is it
I
just
do
you
love
have to do it?
coaching.
You do love
No, I
coaching.
do enjoy it.
You talked about sponsors obviously walking away as you're injured and your career was diminishing and your, you know, being forward facing was diminishing. I hear about these athletes who they have a contract, let's say for $20,000 with someone, and then if you qualify for the games, you get $5,000 more, and if you get in the top 10, you get another $10,000, and if you get on the podium, you get $30,000. And did those opportunities leave you, and so you weren't able to capitalize on your second place as much as you could have, or did they come back in that short duration after you qualified for the games?
No, I mean, some of them did leave during that time. But
Do
I
you think you
have
missed I
some.
guess what I'm saying is, did you miss opportunity because of that injury that probably you could have gotten a substantial more amount of money? Because the placement is crazy, man. I mean, it is really crazy that you're the second fittest woman on planet Earth. And no
Yeah,
one can take that from you. It's not like, and no one's like, that's the cool thing about CrossFit. No one can be like, no, there's someone fitter at blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, there's not. No one's going to get on the internet and try to debate that without getting just ass pounded, you know?
I think, honestly, I haven't really thought much about how much money I would have got if certain sponsors stayed and that sort of thing. You know, there's some pretty good parts of the deals that I do have, so I'm happy with that. I think, like, I'm very aware of, I see this as a massive opportunity now. Actually, I'm in a really good spot to be second fittest on earth and not have quite a lot of sponsor opportunities. So if anyone's interested, hit me up. But like,
Yeah,
you know,
right.
I don't have a clothing sponsor. I don't have a shoe sponsor. Like, there's a lot of sponsors that I don't have. And it's rare that you get onto the podium and not be already tied to loads of sponsors.
Right. Okay. I like that. And what's crazy about you also is I don't think anyone thinks it's a fluke. And the truth is I think everyone thinks you can do better next year. I mean, I'm not saying that to put pressure on you, but like your trajectory is like, I think people see you and they're like, holy shit, like there's more potential there, which is pretty wild. Like a lot of people in the top 10, you're like, yeah, that they maxed out. Good job. But for you, do you feel that too? Like you have even more in the tank?
Yeah. Like I'm super excited now because, as I said, like I only started testing out front rack in December, January time. Like the complex that I would not have got into testing complexes had it not been for the complex being announced at Wodipalooza. That was the first time that I'd done a barbell complex trying to practice for that event. And so, and you know, there's a lot of stuff. There was a significant amount of time where I wasn't able to legless rope climb because the impact of like the pull on the wrist, I couldn't grip properly. And so there's loads of stuff that I've not been able to practice. Like I've not been back to training a full year. I would say that I've been back to full training since where I was able to do front rack and stuff like that since December, January time. And I think that's why I'm most excited, because I'm like, well, if this was where I'm at now, after 2 years out, a significant amount of time not being able to do a lot of these movements, what happens a year from now where I do have a solid year of training under my belt?
The Vice President of the United States, JD Vance, nice to have you in the comments. As someone who had a severe wrist injury and has been fighting limitations, watching you come back and podium at the games has been inspiring. Congrats.
That's nice. Thank you.
When you're injured and you're off, what is the go-to for keeping the engine your metabolic capacity going? Did you have like 3 or 4 workouts or a handful of workouts you're like, these ones have to be done to make sure that I don't lose that capacity
I
or
mean, I spent a
movement?
lot of time on the bike,
A lot of time on the
and
bike.
yeah,
When you say the bike,
um,
the C2 bike or the Echo bike?
C2.
Okay.
Yeah, like the Echo bike was still a bit sore sometimes because like pushing through it, but yeah, a lot of time on the C2 bike. I think as well, like I'm very fortunate that because of my background, that I think there is a sort of natural level of aerobic fitness that I sit at, that because I spent 10 plus years swimming is probably higher than most people. And I'm not necessarily saying higher than most CrossFit games level athletes, but it is definitely higher than your average person. And so the base that I'm building off is probably better than most.
And you're saying that even if you do lose it, it comes back easy, maybe, or it comes back easier.
I think I think that capacity is definitely, and also it's a style of training that I like doing. I like sending myself into a pain cave, and I would rather do that than consistently test my 1 rep max.
Okay. Event one, I think. Did you take second place, third place,
Third, yeah,
third?
third,
It was Tia and Amy Kringle.
yeah.
Did you? Was there a plan to win that? Did you tell me how you paced that? And then the other thing is did you ever? What's that called when you? Oh, did you ever get runner's high or get in the zone in that workout?
So I think it's hard to get runners high. I think runners high is something that happens more when there's not necessarily something at stake.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like if I was going for a nice run, or if I was doing like paces where it feels really good to run fast, and so I do often get the runner's high after stuff like that. But when it's competition, it's a little bit different, and I think I was pleased overall with where that ended up. I think, you know, I never expect to win anything. I just go and want to do my best and do my plan and see where that puts me overall, which I think is always why I'm so surprised when I do win stuff, because I train as if me training really hard isn't good enough, honestly. And I train as if everyone is training that hard. And so I was expecting Tia to be very quick. I wasn't sure just how quick she would be. Like she was super fast on that last 2 miles, especially. But like she obviously started behind us, and literally 3, 2, 1, go. You just see her like shoot around the outside of the pack. And I was like, okay, Tia wants to be forgotten in this event. Like she wants to be so far ahead that people are not thinking about her. And I knew that Amy would be good at this event. Like she's very good on the ergs. She is a very good runner. I think she used to do track and field. But again, I wasn't sure how fast she was able to go. And I also wasn't sure how the event would play out. Like I'm sort of surprised that there wasn't more pack running, that like people weren't intentionally creating groups and running together. And like this is the first time that I've ever done something that says as single modality as that, I guess. Like we had a run in Marbella, but it's a different level of event. And so I sort of had plans for different scenarios, but I also had the pace in my head that I knew that I needed to be around, and that I needed to be careful of if I was to run a lot faster.
You have a watch?
Yeah.
So can you walk me when you crossed the finish line? Where was fourth place? Was it close to you? Did you know where fourth was? You didn't know.
Haley was
Okay.
behind me.
Okay. And when was the last time you saw her?
Coming off the rower.
Okay. So you ran the last 2 miles alone.
Yeah, and I think the whole time I was sort of, at least on the way out, I was running as if she was chasing me. Like I wasn't sure what where she was. I didn't really want to look back at that point. But then when we passed, obviously you pass each other as you're then coming back on the other mile. And I realized that she was actually a lot further back from me than I thought. And so that's then when I backed off the pace a little bit and was like, okay, you just need to like keep going. It's a decent pace, but my pace dropped from like 4:10 per K to 4:25.
And did you see Amy Kringle at all?
Yeah, she was, I would have had to really like, I would have had to come back consistently and quite significantly under 4-minute pace to catch her.
When you were going out for that, it was 2 miles at the end. Is it a mile out and a mile back, basically?
Yeah.
When you were going out for that mile, and then you see her, you're going out and you see her coming back. At that point, do you settle in and you're like, okay, that's only 2 people ahead of me. I'm good. I just got to worry about Haley. Or do you even contemplate getting her?
I mean, I knew that there was only 2 people ahead of me because of where we came off the rowers.
Right.
But it was more the gap between us.
So you saw how far ahead Amy was, and you're like, okay, that's cool. I don't have to worry about her, Tia. That's only 2 people ahead of me.
Just manage it.
Okay, just manage it.
Because the thing is, as well, it's a first event, and you've got a lot of events to come.
Right. Is that hard for you to do, or the competitive person in you, or do you know, hey, it's a long weekend?
I think I see the competitiveness in the context of the broad event.
Okay.
So I was aware that it was a long weekend. There was no point in me trying to go, 3:45 pace for a mile to try and catch up with Amy. It just wouldn't have been a smart decision in that situation.
Yeah, and those 4 points wouldn't have made a difference.
Yeah.
No.
Well, you would hope not at the end. You would hope that you're able to put in enough consistent performances over the rest of the weekend that those 4 points don't matter. But actually, if you do send it and try and get those 4 points, then you might jeopardize the performances over the rest of the weekend.
Right. And theoretically, just to put the head of a champion in your space, let's say you had that opportunity in all 10 workouts to step on the gas and pass one person and get 4 points. That would be a total of 40 points, and that would have put you at 760. And Tia had 902. So even if you would have taken 40 of those points away from Tia, she still would be at 860 and you would have been at 760.
Yeah, I mean, I never want to see it like that. I think we're talking about we're talking about like one event and a very long event as well. Like the first event was a very, very draining event. And so, when you're talking about that versus a 15-minute workout or a 20-minute workout, it's a bit different. Like, even though those are long events, they rarely feel as damaging.
Yeah.
And I think I heard Adrian say it in the broadcast a lot of the time, it's like, where is a juice worth the squeeze? And in that one situation, in the context of the broader weekend, that one situation wouldn't be worth it.
Have you gone back and watched this event? This is the deadlift, handstand walk run.
Yeah, I've watched them all now.
And when you guys all bend over like this, is this to take pressure? What are you guys doing? Are you guys resting your hamstrings, your lower back, your wrists? Why is this the human for all human beings? Do you know?
I have no idea. I just
because it seems universal.
Sick at points in that. Yeah, no, I don't know.
Are you pregnant?
Am I?
Yeah.
I hope not.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, there's rumors buzzing that one of the games that females competed pregnant, and then you said you felt sick, so I had to jump on it.
Oh,
okay.
No. Okay. If I am, it's news to me.
Okay. So what were you saying? You were feeling sick?
I was just feeling a bit sick at that point. I think when you're handstand walking, it's sometimes surprising how high your heart rate can get because you're not breathing properly as well.
Mm-hmm.
And to be fair, I had a dodgy stomach the whole weekend. So it was just like, yeah.
Why do you think you had a dodgy stomach the whole weekend? Did you eat something crazy?
The nerves, like the amount of sugar you eat over the course of those sorts of weekends, it's just like more than normal. And it's just digestion is not fully functioning.
Yeah. Were there any times that you wish you would have pooped that you didn't?
before running Isabel.
Oh shit! Wow. Yeah, that seems like that would be huge. You don't want to go out there with not emptied out. Okay, so this was crazy. I had a great I was on the other side, right on the barrier for this, and it was bonkers. I'm gonna play a little bit of this, and feel free to interject. I think this is I think you guys are heading back towards your last
round.
Yeah, your
this
last
is
deadlift.
mid round 4.
Say that again.
This is midway through round 4.
Yeah, and it's a 5-round workout.
Yeah. Yeah, this was cool. The crowd was so, at this point, the crowd was so loud. And that's how I had a feeling that she'd come down, because I was like, she's not near me, so they're not cheering for the race. Like, I couldn't see her. So, yeah, that was cool.
Oh, and why didn't you come down there?
Because I didn't feel like I needed to.
Is that's true?
Yeah.
You weren't like, hey, I need to, but like, fuck it, like it's like I have to.
No, I felt pretty good.
You felt good, okay. And then so the crowd's going absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
And can you so you still don't know for sure though? Like up to this point, you haven't like, can you see her when you're walking on your hands? Can you see her back there?
No.
You're focused.
Yeah.
You're like, okay. And then when you cross that line, how much further could you have gone? Is it touch and go? Is it like, ooh, when you see that line, are you like, thank God, hi mama?
No, I felt pretty good.
You did? Okay, yeah. Shit. All right. So you're still going. So there. Now do you see her?
Yeah. And I think like then it was a case of just trying to get the runner going and seeing how far ahead I could get before she gets to the runner. Because I also wasn't sure, like, you never know how much she can turn it on.
Right.
So I was running, and I think I was running at a low 8 miles per hour pace, whatever it was showing on the monitor. And for most of that event, we were like probably mid 7.5. And so I was getting ready for her to come on and like really turn it on. And then when we got back onto when we were both on the runners, I think I heard the MC say something about like 50 meters between us. And then at another point, it was then 60 meters between us. And then it was 70 meters between us. And I was like, oh, okay, I'm actually like gaining space on her. I don't need to be running this fast. So I just pulled it back a little bit.
You trust the MCs in that moment? Do you ever think, oh shit, what if they have it wrong?
I mean, I could also see her monitor, not the main monitor, but I could see the rep counter a little bit.
Okay.
So I still knew that I was at least 50 meters ahead. And I also knew that actually for that race, it wasn't about the run. I wasn't gaining space on Tia on the run. I was gaining on her on the handstand walk. And we then had more handstand walking to come on that last round. So I backed myself that if it came down to a handstand walk race, I was fresher in the handstand walk because I hadn't come down at halfway at that point.
Look at your judge.
To then hold my own. I know.
Your judge doesn't even blink. Your judge is like, don't fuck this up. Don't look at. She's like a shark. Look at her eyes. She's
the
like,
pressure that they must feel.
Oh my God. I don't know how they do it. Yeah, I noticed Tia's judge isn't blinking either. They're just like completely.
Because now they've got an extra job to do as well. They don't even have like 2 minutes where they can switch off. They've got to make sure that the rep counter counts right.
So when you get on there, and I don't mean to ask you either or, come up with any answer you want, but is the goal when you get on the runner, I'm assuming you get a little bit of a high there, like, and is the goal to put as much space between you and her, or use that as a time to rest? Or are those options that are going in your head?
No, I think you want to put space between.
Space, okay.
Yeah.
So It's not like, okay, she's behind me, I'm gonna take my foot off the gas. And are you pretty excited here? Like, do you feel like someone said runner's high is not real, but do you feel like a third lung open up at all when you're have that much of a lead? Or are you like, oh shit? Like you get a
Not at
little
that
free
point.
energy? No.
I think that's where it's like you can really easily lose it in those moments if you don't stay with it. So it was just another part of, you know, keeping that concentration and making sure that I still dialed into how I was feeling, and also even just like keeping an eye on the time, because I knew that Gracie Walton was around the 18-minute mark. So I was like, okay, are we under that time? Because if we're not under that time, I would need to keep the pace on the runner, and I would need to push the pace on the runner to see if I could then try and bridge the gap, or, you know, make sure that I beat the time going into that event. But because I felt good, I mean, I felt a bit sick, but I felt good. And I felt in control at that point in time. That was where it just was a little bit different, and it enabled me to, just stay controlled and carry on thinking about, like, actually, how do I want this event to run out? Because I also knew that I was doing touch and go deadlifts, even though my touch and go reps were slower than what Tia was doing with the break. Like, Tia's rep rate was a lot faster than mine was, but it wasn't coming down to the deadlifts, it was coming down to the handstand walk, and I still felt very in control in the handstand walk.
And when you say you didn't feel good, like I'm picturing you feel you're getting waves of nausea.
Just like a sicky feeling in your stomach.
Yeah, which is kind of crazy, because when that happens, you kind of all your attention goes there, right? Like you start doing an assessment, you're like, uh-oh, what's going on?
You know, having the belt on, going upside down, that didn't really help it either.
When my stomach's doing weird shit, I'm always like, am I going to throw up or am I going to shit? Like I start like going like, is it like that?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. So you put the belt on, belt is necessary, or it's just routine habit? It's like built-in excuse to rest.
I wouldn't say that I rested much in that event.
But just there.
I think it can be an excuse to rest.
Okay, all right. How dare I say that about you? I apologize. I take that back. You are fierce, girl. Okay. Why did they make you jump over? Was there did they explain the logic of making you jump over the deadlift a bar every time you went to the runner?
I think just because there wasn't a ton of space between the bars in that event, so they didn't want people going around while people were deadlifting and, you know, putting themselves at risk of getting hit by other people's bars.
Okay. And they were very strict on that. They made people go around. Yeah. And is that thing trying to peel out of your hand, or does Lucy Campbell have a good grip on that?
For the most part, I had a good grip. There was a couple of reps, like the last few reps of round 3, 4, and 5, I could feel it starting to go a little bit, but for the most part, it was all right.
And you feel supremely confident. There's no chance of that slipping right there. I mean, look at your left hand. Those fingers, those don't have a lot of purchase. They're like just ledged under there.
But I also knew that I had like 2 reps left and I could hold on to that. And also, I also trusted that even if I dropped it, it still wouldn't be an in for Tia. Because it's different between dropping it and failing it.
Was it the round before this on the deadlift where she put it down and you kept going?
Yeah, that was pretty much every round. She would break it into 2 sets and I went unbroken.
And at some point here, do you feel like right there when you, I'm guessing subconsciously at least, you hear her drop it, you're only about 12 feet away from her. Do you know that like you're in control of your own destiny? All you have to do is not fall down?
Yeah.
Well,
I knew that I just needed to not make a stupid mistake.
If you were to do this workout 10 times, how many times would you fall on the handstand walk?
Rarely.
Okay, so you're good. You're not tripping on going up on your hands at all.
I'm pretty confident with like volume handstand walk. I know that I'm not as quick as other people, and I also think that part of that is trusting that the faster you go, the more I feel my wrist. So I do know that that's part of it that I need to improve on. But it's rare that I'll fail a handstand walk where it's just an A to B.
And a theme of the Lucy Campbell story is like focusing on the task at hand is something you pride yourself in. You're focused. You're locked in.
Yeah. I think at this point as well, I was watching Tia and I was like, I don't need to go right this second. So I waited until she got to the halfway mark and then kicked up.
And then, but this is also going to be your longest handstand walk. You're going to have to come back.
Yeah.
And the crowd's going fucking bonkers.
In the fifth and final round. Lucy has plenty of time for the...
Okay, so there she is, and she's 1, 2, 3, 4 squares away from you. Those are 10 feet?
Maybe... So the red line to the yellow line is 25.
Okay. So about maybe a little more, 8 feet.
Time to beat. She just has to focus on Tia. Lucy Campbell's on her hands again.
Yeah, it was deafening in there. Does that distract you at all, or do you like it?
No, it was pretty cool.
Geez Louise. Why? Don't Lucy, do you remember me from the Coffee Podscast 2 years ago?
No, sorry.
No, fuck no. I'll answer for it. Fuck.
Also,
no,
I think it was 3 years ago because I went on to, as a guest anyway, I think it was like pre or post Wodapalooza.
Okay.
Lucy Campbell.
Do you see her there when you go by her?
I think I do. I can't remember.
And and then the time to beat was like 18 minutes. So you're crushing the time. And this is the final heat. Oh wow.
Has been out of competition for 2 years. She's won 3 events since she's returned.
It's kind of nice too, because even though this is like a high skill workout, it still has the deadlifts in there, so no one can say this is like, oh, she just won the swim, right? It's like, no, she did 60 deadlifts with the fatty bar at 220.
She's beat a previous champ, and the Queen Slayer, Lucy Campbell, takes down another one.
There's the orthopedic surgeon, medical staff, all the cameras on you. Did the documentary crew focus on you much?
Yeah, I know Sean quite well. The guy behind with the camera, with the microphone camera.
Cool dude.
And actually, yeah, really nice guy. And that morning, they were actually at my hotel. So they caught on camera like the response to the event change and all that sort of stuff. And they walked over to the hotel to the venue with me.
And what did you think about the event change? Were you okay with it?
Yeah, I mean, it was hard to.
What did they do? They added 100 meters on the run?
Added 100 meters and added the 50-foot at the end.
Right.
And I think it was hard to really gauge how the run would play out, because we've never used the Rogue Runner before. So I knew Emma McQuaid used to have one. So I messaged her and asked her what it was like. And she was saying that it's a lot slower than the normal runner. And then we had a few in the warm-up area. So that was what we were using to kind of gauge what kind of pace we wanted to go at. But we knew it would be already, just with the 300 meters, we knew that would be slower than what I'd practiced at. Because I think I'd practiced in the runs were taking me like 1 minute 15 maybe on an assault runner, or like between 1 minute 10, 1 minute 20. And then we practiced in the back, and like 50 meters was taking like 20 seconds or something like that. So already it was going to be probably a 2-minute effort just with the 300. So yeah, we were expecting it to make it quite a bit longer. But I was happy with it. Like, longer events work better for me anyway, generally. And I trusted my capacity on the handstand walk as well.
Is there any significance in beating Tia? Is there any like mentality like, okay, she's human, or is it like?
I mean, I've beaten Tia before in a couple of
Yeah.
the events, but I also, you know, it's as you say, when you've got a swimming background like I have, it's easy to just attribute that rinse and repeat win to how much faster I can swim than most of those women.
That was the ski erg swim you did in Madison. That was a beautiful event. Yeah.
And so I think the thing that was nice was that it felt nice to beat Tia at an event that doesn't have something in there where I'm just a given, if that makes sense. Like I think, you know, when
you
it's
have
a swim
some
event,
sort of background advantage.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the she is great deadlifter. She's a great runner, and she's good on her hands. It's not like there's no hole there. It's not like she didn't fall down.
And also, that's just proper CrossFit. That's very traditional CrossFit. So I think that was a cool thing as well.
Do you think that why do you think you beat her in that event? Like if you were her coach and you were like, hey, let's say that was a new let's say that was High Rocks, and you were like, hey Tia, if you want to be the best at that, you need to improve this to beat Lucy. What do you think it is? Do you think it's the running, the handstand walk, or the deadlift?
I'll let Shane decide that.
When the doctor said, did the doctor really say you'll never do CrossFit again?
Yeah, he was like, you need to choose a new sport. He was suggesting that I go into cycling.
It's so weird that they doctors have made that problem. They've made that mistake a lot, especially in the last 5 years on planet Earth. Instead of just giving an they're not supposed to give you their opinion. They're supposed to tell you what's wrong, and then you assess it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I think the thing is, like,
they're not supposed to like tell you make the decision for you.
But there are very few people who are equipped to understand information like they are. Like, I'm not saying that my surgeon gave me the wrong information necessarily. It was that was his interpretation with the studying that he's done, with the, you know, degrees and everything and the experience that he's got of my situation. I trust what he said in his determination of it. I just wasn't ready to give it up, and I wanted to find someone who was also experienced and the thing is that, like, had Mr. Eames, who was the second surgeon that I ended up seeing, had he said exactly the same thing, I would have backed down and I would have had to accept it. And I think that's where it's like, I didn't just want to trust one person's opinion. And I know that, you know, there's a lot out there in terms of the last few years and the events of all of it, where there is a lack of trust in people like that in the medical community. And I am not someone who lacks trust in it. Like, I'm not annoyed at him for telling me that. That was his interpretation of with the experience that he's got. But I very much trust the training that they go through and their experience. And I think, you know, there's a lot of people out there who want to do their own research, but they actually don't understand how to interpret some of that information.
Let me just push back just a little bit here. So let me give you an example. So when my wife was pregnant and we would go to the gynecologist, she at one point said, which I really appreciate her saying, she said, hey, just so you know, I'm singularly focused as a doctor to find things that could go wrong. Like, that was her mission. Or like, one of my friends is a cop. So he just thinks fucking humanity's fucked, right?
Yeah.
Because every day he's getting a call to like, you know what I mean? Like, he sees one kid kidnapped a year in my town, and he's like, holy shit, like, his kid can't ever be left alone. So anyway, I'm glad you did get a second opinion. Did you tell, just out of curiosity, did you tell that for the second doctor, hey, homeboy, Dr. Wang over here said that I'll never be able to do CrossFit again. What do you think?
Yeah. I told him the whole situation.
And did he say that's bollocks?
He no, to be honest, he said to me that the surgery option that he was offering me wasn't
big risk.
It wasn't guaranteed.
Right.
Like,
it sounds like it was far less than guaranteed. It sounds like it was like kind of a Hail Mary. And it still sounds like it's not guaranteed. You still don't really know, right?
Yeah, like, we were very much like going by the best case scenario, but also the option that he was offering me was more than any other option that anyone had offered me. Like,
and you wanted to keep the dream alive, the hope alive.
I very much went into it with a lot of hope.
Yeah.
And like, that was the only choice that I had, because we didn't know for sure. Like, I had to be hopeful that this could work.
Almost red pilled, Lucy. Almost. Okay. Hey, so you will do the big W, then you will fly back to the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
When is the big W?
Last weekend in August.
Okay. And then Rogue is
like Halloween weekend.
You guys do Halloween in the UK?
Yeah, I don't like Halloween. People do it, but
bunch of snotty nosed kids eating candy, getting fat. Okay, so end of October, and then how do you know? Isn't there some sort of, I don't know where it is, but there's some ranking somewhere, and Bill and Katie look at it and start picking people off of it who are the top. Have you been CrossFitting enough to get into those rankings, or does that second place? And I know it's their event, so they could be like, we don't give a shit, we're inviting Lucy Campbell.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know where I sit on it, to be honest. I think, like, my hope is that there is a there is enough context in my story with the fact that I've been out for 2 years, and so the ability to, you know, rack up the points and everything like that has been impacted in the same way that the Apollo ranking systems still has me as 14th or whatever I am, but it, you know, it's just where it is. Don't worry, I've had my words with Barkley after after Wodify.
Barkley's a wonderful man. Hey, he's a wonderful man. Hey, what about did you meet Bill and Katie at the games?
No, I didn't.
Oh, listen, they are wonderful people. You go get into Katie's DMs. You go get into Katie's DMs, and yes, dear Bill and Katie, I'm serious. I'm not even joking. You go get into her DMs and tell her, hey, I love everything you did, minus the pegboards. Great event, great fucking event. You guys killed it. And I would like you to consider me for Rogue. I promise I'll do my best. And I promise, I'm 99% certain Katie will be like, of course, Mrs. Campbell. Katie's a wonderful human being. Wonderful human being.
I know Rob Lawson, who was working at, he's a seminar staff.
Yep, great dude. Great dude.
And I saw him behind the scenes when I think I was in my leader jersey. I was like, hey, Rob, like, you know the Rogue guys pretty well. Like, can you put in a good word for me? And he was like, well, you're the one in red and white, so hopefully we'll see.
I don't know why Bill and Katie like me. Maybe they don't, but they are very attracted to classy people, and you are a very classy woman. And Katie, as a elite athlete herself, not only in the CrossFit Games but in collegiate basketball, she's a sharp cookie, and I'm pretty sure that's her pet project, the whole Rogue Invitational. So in all seriousness, you should reach out to her. I'm sure she would love to hear from you. And I mean that. And they're really busy people too. So if she responds to you even like, "Hi, Lucy," like, that's a good sign. Yeah. They're their facility in Columbus, I think, is approaching 1 million square feet.
Jeez, that's huge.
And they built that shit from scratch, her and Bill.
That's
It's like
impressive.
they did the American dream. It's crazy.
That is impressive.
And they both looked. Did you see them this weekend? They both looked fitter than they've ever looked. I couldn't believe how good they looked.
I saw Katie.
Yeah, she looked good,
just at
right?
the briefing.
Yeah. Do you know the story about the rowers and her?
No.
So, I think if I heard this right, I was chatting with her, and she said this is the first event that the Rogue Rowers were used in the games.
Yeah.
And so when the rowers got there, in 3 days, she rowed 1,000 meters on every single rower. Over 80 rowers. To make sure they were working, to calibrate them.
That's crazy.
Her personally. I know, that's crazy. And she's filthy rich. She don't have to do that. She could have just been like, "Yo, Sevon, come over here and row some shit." I'd have been like, "Yes, ma'am." Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, she's a beast, man. She's a beast.
That's cool.
Hey, this interview went perfect. I'm only embarrassed that it's taken me so long to get you on the show. I wish we could have just focused on the games the whole time, but I wanted to hear some other shit from you too. Congratulations. You're a remarkable human being. You represent CrossFitters everywhere very well. Thanks for being a coach. Thanks for everything you do.
Thank you.
All right, dear. Have a good day. We'll be watching you at the Big W. All right.
Thanks, bye.
Ciao. Lucy Campbell. Sevon's still crushing on Katie. Yeah, why not? Easy day. God, I like her so much. She looked like a beast. That's the best I've ever seen her look at the games. It's queer. It's queer. It's weird because we're supposed to be getting older, and she's just getting more and more attractive. This Mm. Mm. All right. Sevon, you're on fire with these interviews. I was in a little bit of a panic. I'm not like I don't plan out very far ahead. It's pretty funny. I should ask Sousa what he thinks. So like yesterday, like at 3:00 in the afternoon, I'm like, shit, I need a guest tomorrow. So I just start like going crazy and I start just texting everyone. Like I go through the list of people. Like I pull up the game's leaderboard and I'm like, I start texting people. And then like, so I text like 10 athletes and 5 respond. And then when Lucy responds, I just put her at the top. I'm like, yep, Lucy. I mean, she's number 2, right? She's the shit. And then I came home. And then from 8:00 to midnight, I watch as much Lucy. I go in the garage and I ride the assault bike. Basically, I get 2 20-pound dumbbells and I ride the assault bike and I do thrusters for basically 4 hours. Just really slow. I do sets of 5 on the minute. I ride the assault bike and I go back and forth and I have my phone there and I take notes and I watch everything she did. What's crazy is I was really concerned because she's what is she? She's English or something like that. So she's got that voice. And sometimes I can't listen to those people at even like 1.5 speed. I'm like, what the fuck did they say? Like I can't listen to Ricky, I have to listen at 1 time speed. But with Lucy, I could listen to her at 2 times speed. So I just listened to like 4 hours of Lucy Campbell stuff. And then I come out of the gym. I'm completely soaked. I mean, I'm just drenched head to toe. My phone's full of notes, and I got all these thoughts about Lucy. And then normally I don't even shower. Like, I'll just fall into bed. I'll just dry off. I'll walk around the house naked until the sweat dries. But this time I actually showered. I was too sweaty. I was rinse out my shirt sweaty. And then my wife came out to the kitchen. Haley came out to the kitchen and she had made bump roast or hump roast or some roast thing in the slow cooker. And she pointed at it. So I just fucking devoured that thing. And I fucking crushed that thing. And then so now I'm so full and it's 12:30 and we go to bed and we do what people do in bed. And then I go to sleep and then I woke up this morning, my eye, when you're so tired your eyes are burning and you're lightheaded, that's how I woke up this morning. I don't know. I don't remember that happening when I was young. I remember just being able just to get up on super limited sleep, but I felt like ooh, a little lightheaded. But I knew if I came in here and just started talking to her, it'd probably go away in 10 minutes. And it did. It went away. Thank God she knows how to talk. What a fucking talker, huh? She got a boyfriend. She got second place at the games. I woke up to tornado sirens this morning. Oh, dude. So I was farting in bed like crazy last night. She even told me. She's like, "Oh my God." She's like, "In your sleep, you fart." Yeah, I stunk up the room pretty good last night. So when I have to take a shit, my arms tingle. It's so weird, and my hands tingle. It's such a trip. And so I took this. My arms and hands were tingling like crazy. It was 6:05. I'd been up for 5 minutes. I take this crazy dump, and then I go back to my computer and I'm just digging through stuff and looking at my notes, and then at 6:25, I'm like, "Oh shit, my hands and arms are tingling again. This is gonna be a double doozy." I went and sat down and completely emptied out. Which is so important. I think it's so important for the podcast. I don't wanna be in my own body at all. I wanna be completely present, looking at the screen. Oh shit, Pedro has tattoos? I didn't know that. That's crazy. In a world of swirling rumors, take an inside look and find out everything or nothing about what you need to know or don't. Okay, here we go. Oh, I like that pen. See that pen he's using? I love those pens.
So where do you want to brisk walk? What is happening here? I'm just writing up a small little workout. Do you want to join in? It'll take maybe 3 hours max. Move max.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Wow. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you. This is crazy. I can't tell if these are inside jokes or if everyone knows what's going on. Does everyone know what's going on? You guys explain to me what's going on here. I want to see if the chat knows. Does everyone know what's going on here? What he's doing? This is crazy. Pedro is crazy. Nice eyes, Pedro. You have beautiful eyes. No idea. You don't know? I have no clue. Holy shit. This is crazy. Someone explain it in the chat. I don't want to explain it. I don't want to explain it. What if Malik actually ends up owning the company? I need to be on his good side, at least in the beginning. Okay, here we go. The MoveMax guy with the crazy workouts, that I'll be maybe paying my affiliate fee to. Yeah. Yep. All right. And what else? I'll explain on the update. Oh shit. Oh fuck. Oh, this is so fucking funny. Holy shit. It's already got like 4 jokes in the first fucking 15 seconds. The champagne glass, all of it. This is so funny. Wow. Okay, here we go.
But why? Why? I just wanted to move maximally for maximum time. Why can't we just constantly varied function? No, just long. No
Wow.
good's going to come of continuing that line of conversation. What are you doing now?
Okay. Anyone want to explain that part? Oh, shit. I think Malik did double chat or something at the venue. I didn't see it, but I heard that he did double Chad. I think Chad is the worst workout in the history of CrossFit. I think it's absolutely stupid. I think it's dangerous. I think it's like I'd rather see lake swimming at 100 degrees. Like, and this fucking madman, and he's a big dude. He's a big 2,000 stupid with a weighted vest, 2,000 step ups, insane. But a single Chad is stupid.
I just asked my community what I should do and who I am, why I exist, why we're all here, and what capacity the new business venture should operate in. What are you doing? Have you not purchased this? Is this not? Have you not bought this? It depends who you ask. If you ask me, I have. If you ask anybody else, even remotely involved in the sale, then no, I have not. Oh my god, every time I can't just be a normal person. I'm pretty confident. I mean, he has all this money.
Oh my goodness, Pedro. Oh my goodness. Oh my God. Hey, this is truly. Man.
Have all this money.
It's all here, guys. This is it. This is it. This is here.
Me. What would you like me to do then? I think we should involve Rich Froning. Okay, we need to win over the community. And Junior, Rich Froning Jr., as you call him, is the way to do that. What are you doing now? I'm just working on an explainer of what it is that we do, and then I'm going to post it, and then I'm going to ask people what it is that we should do. Can you just maybe just stop? Forget about Rich Froning. Ditch him. Why? What? The community and what's the story with the rake? What's happening there now? Is for the last part of the next workout. I want Shafi as CEO. Oh, who do you think should be CEO? I don't really know why you care what I think, but
Dave,
Shafi's a sensible. Maybe Facundo actually. Right. Okay. I met so many famous people at the CrossFit Games. Have you seen this photo of me and Souza? What is this move? What is that? What is that? When Berkshire see that I've launched this huge threat, they'll buckle and just sell me the whole company. Even if you push the boundaries and suspend belief, I need to understand what your problem is. Everybody else that surrounds me just agrees with me all the time and says everything that I'm doing is great. And you seem to have an issue with everything that I'm suggesting doing. You're probably going to tell me I shouldn't paint that horse trailer and drive around. Okay, so where...
Oh, I don't get that one. Someone needs to tell me that one. Oh, boy.
Where do you want to brisk walk? What is happening here? I'm just writing up.
Wow. We are like the Simpsons. You know in the beginning of the Simpsons how there's all those characters in the beginning, like you can see them all. It really is amazing just the cast of characters we have. We have such a great cast. God. Thank you, Malik, for also becoming a great character in the pantheon of CrossFit Springfield. Amazing. I have to watch that again. I need to call Souza and watch that with him. This is that's like an after sex cigarette. I need to do it with someone. That's incredible. All right. I feel another deuce brewing. My third deuce of the morning. This morning's going to be absolutely amazing. Yeah, I think a ton of people might not get any of those jokes. If you can get those jokes, that is really funny. Pedro did. That sums up so much. Like, you can watch me and Souza talk about the sale for an hour, or you can just watch that video. Today's gonna be an insane morning. I'm gonna go. Just imagine I get to go. For those of you who are into fighting and BJJ, I'm going to Saturday mornings. I get to watch the boys go do like their special training comp, and the boys are so fucking good at jiu-jitsu. Man, complete savages. So I get to go to the studio. It'll be just them and a couple other kids, and I'll just watch them just fight. And then buddy mine's coming over to return some camera equipment he borrowed, and he wants to play Avi at ping pong again. Last time he was here, Avi beat him at ping pong. And then I'll eat the rest of that rump roast at some time, and then I'll watch the UFC all day. It's like a dream. And then I'll probably walk around in the garden barefoot for hours too. So dream day. All right. Talk to you guys soon. Thank you, Lucy Campbell. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I don't know who the guest is going to be. I'll start texting people. Hopefully Tia comes on tomorrow, or Shane. Talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.